Imagine a tiny, fledgling community, just 313 strong, facing an army of 1,000 battle-hardened warriors. They were outnumbered, outgunned, and outmatched in every conventional sense. Yet, what unfolded on the 17th of Ramadan in the second year after the Hijrah would echo through eternity as a testament to faith, courage, and divine intervention. This is the story of the Battle of Badr, the day the impossible became reality. To truly understand Badr, we must first go back to Mecca for 13 long years. The early Muslims, led by the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, endured relentless persecution. They were boycotted, tortured, and stripped of their homes and wealth simply for declaring that there is no God but God. Their belief was a direct challenge to the polytheistic, tribal, and economic structure of Makkah, controlled by the powerful Quraysh tribe. The oppression became so unbearable that they were forced to leave everything behind and migrate to the city of Medina. This migration, the Hijrah, wasn't an escape. It was the birth of a new society, a community founded on faith and justice. But the Quraysh were not content with just driving them out. They saw the growing influence of the Muslims in Medina as a threat to their trade routes and their authority. The tension was palpable. In the year 624 CE, news reached Medina that a massive Quraysh caravan, laden with wealth, much of it confiscated from the Muslims, was returning from Syria under the command of Abu Sufyan. This caravan represented the economic lifeblood of the Quraysh war machine. The Prophet, seeing an opportunity to reclaim what was stolen and disrupt the Quraysh's ability to wage war, decided to intercept it. However, Abu Sufyan was cunning. He got wind of the Muslim plan and sent a frantic message to Mecca for reinforcements. He also cleverly rerouted the caravan along a different path, successfully evading the Muslims. But the call to arms had already been answered in Mecca, fueled by years of animosity and a desire to crush the nascent Muslim state once and for all. The Quraysh dispatched a formidable army. Their objective was no longer just to protect a caravan, it was to annihilate the Muslims. So, near the wells of Badr, the stage was set for a confrontation that neither side had initially sought in this specific form. The Muslims, who had set out to intercept a caravan, now faced a fully equipped army marching for war. The disparity was staggering. The Muslims numbered just 313 men. They had only 2 horses and 70 camels among them, which they took turns riding. Many had swords, but few had proper armor. They were a band of believers, not a professional army. On the other side stood the Quraysh, a force of nearly 1,000 men. They were the elite of Arabian warriors, boasting around 200 horses, hundreds of camels, and an abundance of chainmail, shields, and lances. They were confident, almost arrogant, in their numerical and material superiority. To any military strategist of the time, the outcome was a foregone conclusion. It was a mismatch of epic proportions. As the two forces faced each other, the sheer weight of the moment was immense. This wasn't just a battle, it was a struggle for the very survival of Islam. If this small group of believers was wiped out, the message they carried might be extinguished forever. It was in this moment of overwhelming odds that the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, turned to the ultimate source of strength. He raised his hands to the heavens in a tent on the edge of the battlefield and prayed with an intensity that moved his closest companions. He supplicated to God, "O Allah, if this small band of believers is destroyed today, you will no longer be worshipped on earth. O Allah, grant me the victory that you have promised me." He prayed so fervently that his cloak fell from his shoulders, and his companion Abu Bakr had to comfort him, reassuring him that God would surely answer his call. And the answer came. A sense of tranquility, a gentle slumber descended upon the believers, calming their hearts before the storm. And then the promise of the Quran was fulfilled. "Remember when you cried out to your Lord for help. He answered, I will reinforce you with 1,000 angels, rank upon rank." Divine support was on its way. The Quran describes a wind, a rain, that firmed the sand under the Muslims' feet while turning it to mud for the enemy, and most miraculously an army of angels sent to fight alongside. The believers unseen by most, but their impact felt by all. The believers felt a surge of courage, while a paralyzing fear began to creep into the hearts of the Quraysh. As the battle commenced with traditional one-on-one duels, the spirit of the Muslims shone brightly. 3 of the Quraysh's top champions stepped forward, challenging the Muslims. From the Muslim ranks emerged 3 legendary heroes: Ali ibn Abi Talib, the young lion; Hamza ibn Abd al-Muttalib, the uncle of the Prophet and a fearsome warrior; and Ubaidah ibn al-Harith. In a swift and decisive display of skill and faith, they defeated their opponents, sending a shockwave of disbelief through the Quraysh army and electrifying the Muslim morale. Then there was the story of Abu Dujana, a warrior known for his red headband, which he only wore when he intended to fight to the death. The Prophet held up his sword and asked, "Who will take this sword and give it its due right?" Abu Dujana stepped forward and asked, "And what is its right, O Messenger of Allah?" The Prophet replied that you strike the enemy with it until it bends. Abu Dujana took the sword, tied his red band, and plunged into the enemy ranks like an unstoppable force, a symbol of the unshakable resolve that defined the Muslims that day. Several turning points defined the battle. One crucial moment came when the Prophet, peace be upon him, took a handful of dust and pebbles and, facing the Quraysh, threw it at them, saying, "Shahat or Waju, or may their faces be disfigured." Accounts from the Quraysh fighters later confirmed that at that very moment a blinding dust storm seemed to hit them, filling their eyes and nostrils, causing chaos and confusion in their ranks. It was as if every single enemy soldier was struck by those pebbles. This act, seemingly small, was a powerful catalyst, symbolizing that the true force behind the victory was not human might, but divine power. The Quran itself commemorates this, stating, "It was not you who threw when you threw, but it was Allah who threw." Throughout the battle, the Muslims fought with a discipline and unity that the tribal Quraysh army lacked. They held their formation as a solid block, a tactic taught by the Prophet, which frustrated the individualistic charges of the enemy. The combination of steadfastness, brilliant tactics, and the unseen support of the angels proved to be devastating. The Quraysh lines began to crumble. Their leaders, the very symbols of their arrogance and power, like Abu Jahl, the pharaoh of his people, were slain. Their confidence shattered, and what began as an arrogant march to war turned into a panicked and humiliating retreat. By the end of the day, the sands of Badr were littered with the bodies of some 70 of the Quraysh's most prominent leaders and warriors, with another 70 taken as prisoners. The Muslims, on the other hand, lost only 14 men, 14 martyrs whose names are honored to this day. The caravan that started it all was forgotten. The spoils of war, which were immense, were distributed among the believers. But the true victory was not material. The aftermath for the Quraysh was catastrophic. Their pride was shattered, their leadership decimated, and their aura of invincibility destroyed forever. The news of their defeat sent shockwaves across Arabia. For the Muslims in Medina, the victory at Badr was a monumental turning point. It validated their faith, solidified their community, and established them as a force to be reckoned with. It was proof that victory comes not from numbers or weapons, but from God. So what are the lessons for us today, living centuries later in a world so different from the desert of Badr? The lessons are timeless. Badr teaches us that no matter how overwhelming the odds against us may seem, whether in our personal struggles, community challenges, or global issues, true victory lies with God. It reminds us of the power of sincere dua, of turning to our Creator with absolute humility and trust, just as the Prophet did. It shows us the importance of unity, discipline, and standing firm for what is right, even when we are in the minority. The heroes of Badr were not superhuman. They were people of profound faith who translated that faith into action. They teach us that courage isn't the absence of fear, but the will to act despite it. The story of Badr is a powerful reminder that with unwavering faith, unity, and reliance on God, the impossible can become possible. It is a beacon of hope, assuring us that even a small group committed to truth and justice can change the course of history. Thank you for watching. If this story inspired you, please like, share, and subscribe for more content that delves into the rich history and timeless lessons of our faith. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss an update.